It's high tide. It's 72 degrees at 9:35 on September 11, 2023. After you, Steve. Everybody remembers where they were, if you're old enough. On this date, it was a Tuesday in 2001. Beautiful high pressure system. Nice dry air from Canada. Very different today. 22 years later. Very frustrated over yesterday. Did not expect that kind of flooding that we saw happen so fast. You know, here we are trying to focus on a hurricane from 2 weeks out, and we're really having a difficult time getting the 6 to 12 hour forecast. And I really couldn't get a grip on it. It should have been telling when we woke up in Maine, and it was comfortable. It was kind of this kind of scene, not quite as foggy, but low clouds. And the air was from the east-northeast. And then I got down to Boston, and it was steamy, and there was hardly any air moving. So I obviously drove over a front, and then as the midday went on here in Boston, the air started coming in from the east and northeast, a little bit like it is right now. And while on Cape Cod, it was from the south. And Plymouth and Chatham yesterday was 84 degrees. Beverly was 71 degrees. Yeah, the boundary of the cooler but still very humid air coming in from the north, kind of undermining the warmth aloft. And then very cold above that, way above that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had so much thunder and lightning again yesterday. Now, lightning is a result of raindrops forming and then moving up and then shedding electrons and protons as the water turns to ice. I don't think we had any reports of hail yesterday, but certainly convective downpours. What do you see? You know what I see a lot of right now? Are slugs. They're everywhere, even though it was hot and dry last week. I'm not sure what that means. Hello, Mr. Sluggo. I'm distracted by everything. I notice a lot, and when I can't figure it out, it frustrates me. So the fact that I couldn't figure out yesterday's rain and don't have a very good grip on the hurricane forecast, it's a befuddled TK again today. Let's go to the immediate satellite imagery. Does not look too different than it did 24 hours ago. There are sunny breaks in Connecticut this morning. That means fuel, warm air, rises, cools, and condenses. That's what makes convection. We have very buoyant atmosphere at the south coast, moisture rich. Let's go to the precipitable water forecast. How much water if you were to wring it out of a column of air? The blue is 1 to 2 inches. Then those little purple plum batches, those are more than 2 inches. That's more than 2 inches of precipitable water in southern New England today. So rightfully so, the National Weather Service has a flood watch for today. That means flooding is possible. Yesterday we skipped right over the watch and right to flood warnings. So there were spots yesterday that had 2 to 4 inches of rain. Pretty interesting that there was flooding in Hingham, one town over from me, and here I picked up less than a ½ inch of rain. Want to go see the rain gauge? T-Rex, what are you doing? You want to go inside? So tropical downpours are in the forecast today, and I'll go to the high resolution models, even though they don't serve us that well. It looks a lot wetter on today's model than it did yesterday. Here's what it looked like yesterday, and here's what it looks like today, for today. That's a spot of 5.36 inches, if I recall correctly, somewhere near Brockton today. So surrounded yesterday by 1 to 3 inches of rain. Here in Weymouth, we picked up 0.42 on top of 2.3 the night before. So we're only at 6.7 for the week, but that's obviously enough for slugs. Yeah, to say I've not paid attention to my garden and landscaping needs is an understatement. I hate letting fruits go to waste on the vine, but just got too many. So rabbits and deer, I haven't seen too many deer. Have at it. You need permission to eat as many tomatoes as you want. Tropical downpours today. This kind of reminds me of what happened in 2005. There was a major hurricane that ramped up. Its name was Ophelia, and it was resting on the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina. And slow-moving hurricanes, we've always said, do not hit New England. Even though a hurricane watch went up for us and we activated at the TV station, I had a feeling that was going to miss, and sure enough, it missed. It went by on Saturday, I think it was September 18th or so, and 5 to 10 mile an hour wind. I think that was still a pure tropical storm, though. That's different than what might happen with Lee. Get to that in a second. Anyhow, the several days before Ophelia, while we were all talking about hurricanes, we had 4 to 7 inches of rain on Cape Cod and in southeastern Massachusetts that we really didn't focus on because it's hard to focus on so many different things at one time. So a lot of times we look at these hurricanes, but you miss what's happening right before you, and that's the flooding of yesterday. You know, Andover, Massachusetts, Mark Brown says still parts of Andover are without electricity from that Friday supercell that went by. Now, this is day 4. And he says it was like a hurricane back on Friday, and then we had those floods yesterday, and it may flood again today. Yet we're focused on Lee. Lee is a storm that originates over Africa, and it's going to be turned to the north and to the east by weather that was in Russia. And I've said this so many times. T-Rex, keep it down. I've said that too so many times. It's impossible because those two weather systems are in different parts of the earth to get that from 10 to 20 days. You get indications that something's going to happen. And now that we're within 5 to 7 days, now that energy from Africa is on our side of the world, as is the air from Russia, which is coming in through Western Canada right now, and that storm Lee is a few hundred miles north of the Caribbean. Incidentally, Lee looks ragged again this morning. The eye wall disintegrated a little bit again last night, so after ramping back up to a major hurricane, it's weakening again this morning, but still expected to be a major hurricane for a couple of days as it slows down and awaits a trough. All right, so upper level flow. There's our subtle troughing that's causing the heavy rains around here now with the old stalled front right over us. And I was talking about the upper level flow with a different device. That was my phone, which has been kind of wonky, and it died. So now I'm on an old iPad, actually left over from my TV days. That's funny. And so what was I talking about? Upper level trough. I wonder how different the audio is on this in the video. Looks like it's a tighter image. What do you think, Steve? Yeah, because Steve used to be a lot smaller on the screen. There's Bodie's plaque. Anyhow, upper level flow, a weak front right over us. That's triggering the rain now. And then the next upper level low that's going to dig in the Midwest here on Wednesday and Thursday, that comes and goes without picking up Lee. So that'll be more heavy rain coming in here Wednesday, and then nice dry air from Canada Thursday, which I keep calling hurricane repellent. But that trough comes and goes so quickly. Now we have brief ridging on Thursday and Friday, and then the next trough comes in. And that one is expected to pick up Lee and bring it right to the coast practically. Now, as cooler and drier air comes in, that means Lee will be quickly transitioning from a tropical storm to a hybrid nor'easter. And last week, all the guidance had Lee coming right up here as a monster hurricane, and then the last several days it was out to sea by a wide margin. And now it's kind of right in the middle of those two solutions. So a lot of people call that the windshield wiper effect of forecasting. Weather works in waves. Weather forecasting works in waves. You go up and then down, and the forecast does the same thing. So that's kind of a believable solution with this guidance fairly consistent. Now, the spaghetti plots from last night show still the black line well out to sea, but I have a feeling that black line is going to adjust a little west. But as long as we can keep that hurricane to the east of 70 degrees longitude, it would not be a hurricane coming into New England. It looks more like a plausible nor'easter for us. And as it goes to our east, that means our wind is from the north, so that keeps most of the storm surge, hopefully just offshore, depending on how low our barometer can go. It looks like the forecast is for around a 965 storm. That's pretty serious going by. So a stormy Saturday without destruction. We probably had more destruction back on Friday with that supercell than we would see with this storm going by if that's the path. The shoreline would take a beating, but we wouldn't lose hundreds of trees, and hopefully no storm surge to speak of other than flooding some of the harbors and shore roads. So that's the latest take on that. Up close to 10 minutes again. Been having technical difficulties. A lot of memories today, weather memories and otherwise. It's pretty emotional. But I'm trying to focus this week and get back into the game, and I want to be here and do a serious job for you. I'll probably do some live YouTube hits. What would be the best time to do live YouTube for everybody? Coffee break, because I study the weather actually for 2 hours before I come out and do this. Take some time. All right, I'll leave you with thoughts and confusion from yesterday and frustration with the Patriots. At least they made it good till the end. The beginning was pretty painful. And the weather was always happening at the same time as the Patriots. Doing the play-by-play on both yesterday. Talk to you tomorrow. Just about kickoff time on Sunday, 1 o'clock, and we've got some fat raindrops. I definitely underestimated how much rain there would be around here today. The wind here in Weymouth is from the east. The clouds up in the sky are moving toward the east. That is some serious convergence. There's a front right over us, and there are just incredible tropical downpours. I definitely underestimated the rainfall potential for today. Got to admit, I've been kind of all over the place, and I didn't spend a lot of time looking at the weather. Kind of more big picture stuff than the small picture stuff, but precipitable water is in the order of 2 to 3 inches today, and some places are getting that in less than an hour. Tough to sail into the wind, too. It's always sailing weather. Go, 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 go. 5 minutes later, maybe 10 minutes, the wind just turned around completely. It was from the east, now it's from the west. Just heard some thunder. We are surrounded by tropical downpours. Must be it's just crazy. I just saw a lightning bolt come right down over Hull. Haven't heard it yet. Clouds are going in every different direction. Fascinating. Low level now coming in from the west-northwest. That cloud kind of stationary, but the individual cells are moving towards the northeast. It's impossible to look away. Look at that downpour over there. Trust me, it's a downpour. All right, now that cloud above the roof line is moving from right to left. Those ones down near the ground are moving from left to right. It's almost worthy of a live YouTube, but my internet's all messed up, and so is my phone. I'm actually on an old iPad right now, tracking it. Out the door, weather and more. Now the boats are pointed in 2 different directions. The air is kind of calm right here. It must mean it's just going up. Almost continuous lightning and thunder. Yeah, so of course I'm standing outside. Looks like it's mostly off to the south, so it's kind of behind the house. Can't really see it. Come down here. There was one up high in the sky. So that's a huge updraft right there. And to a line of storms that really stretches from Providence, where there's flash flooding, to right over our head here. And there's another batch way over there. For now, it's kind of still. At least it's a tiny bit less steamy. I know some people have already picked up inches of rain today. I'm at about 0.23. That's how much we had here yesterday. That's what I came home to this morning anyway. What do you say? Looks like about, oops, some heavy light. 72 degrees. 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Five miles. 50,000 degrees, exploding air molecules. It's electric. Rolling thunder. Here comes the next downpour. Maybe we'll go inside. 3:30, the wind's back around from the east. Keeps on shifting, and the rain has been right on our doorstep all day. There's serious flooding happening just south of Weymouth. It just stuck there. I hear there's really deep puddles at Hingham, the rotary there. Cohasset and Hingham getting 3 inches of rain while I've had less than a half inch of rain. Looks pretty wet. Oh boy. What an Steve, what are you doing? What an amazing day with flooding in one town. I've hardly had any rain, and all day it's been right on our doorstep right over there. Just plain ugly and confusing, including the weather today. Mitt, have you seen how many times the wind has shifted? It's coming in from the northeast again. It's come around the compass. And just to our east, there have been 2 to 4 inches of rain, and I still haven't not even had a half inch of rain. Fascinating. There's a stationary front right over southeastern New England with perpetual back-building downpours and thunder. A road trip to Braintree. The Patriots actually just scored. Notice. In recent developments, it's almost halftime, and the Patriots are actually just 2 points behind. And the weather, it's stagnant. Look at that. It's calm now. The downpours just have not made it over this side of the Tarn Harbor. And what's the name of that boat right there? Is that Why Not? We passed a Why Not in Portsmouth yesterday. That's funny. What do you see? We saw a few glimmers of sunshine on the water in the third quarter as the Patriots were driving, and then a couple of penalties set them way back. And does not look good. I think the Patriots game is done. It was not a complete blowout, but pretty close. And the weather's been fascinating today. We picked up about 4/10 of an inch of rain, while about 10 miles away was closer to 4 inches of rain. Perpetual downpours, back-building thunderstorms on a boundary that's been very close. Wind has come from the north, wind has come from the south, and right now there's hardly any wind and any hope for the Patriots. So, we'll just leave it here. Oh yeah, and the 18Z GFS had the hurricane hitting Cape Cod from the east, which has never happened in my life, or my dad's life. Can we help you, T-Rex? Oh wait, one more thing. Let's put this guy back in the garden. Steve, want to see a worm? Steve, look. Hey. That's it. Some spots got 5 inches of rain, some none. Patriots are teasing us here at the end. 25, 20, 21. So I'm listening on the radio, which is about 10 seconds ahead of the TV, and I think they're gonna come. There was a penalty, so it didn't count. The rain is over. The game is not over. Listening to the radio, well ahead of the TV. Ugh. At least they kept us watching. Extraordinary weather and football day. One foot in, other foot out. The end, for real now, of the game and today's and more. Oh, how can I not share a little bit of this open of the Giants Cowboys game on the anniversary of 9/11. All right, I'm tingling. Good night. Beautiful. That's Mitt. Hi, Mitt. It wants to be out the door, too.